Welcome to Sure English Live Lectures. Today's topic is multiple choice, choose multiple answers from the PTE listening section. In this video, you will find detailed explanations of each and every step, proven methods that are known to work, and you will get some very solid practice. So make sure that you watch this video till the very end. And if you have not already done so, don't forget to create your free account on sureenglish.com and sign up for the free PTE course and many other resources. Let's go to question number 1.
Most adults and children in the UK are eating too much sugar. The average British person consumes 15 teaspoons of sugar each day, and often without realising it. The World Health Organization recommends no more than 6 teaspoons of sugar per person per day. Read any food packaging and you will see that sugar can be found in almost all products, ranging from soups to cereals to fish cakes. Sugar occurs naturally in food such as fruit and milk, and we don't need to cut down on these types of sugars. But we do need to look at the amount of pure sugar within our diet, the amount of sugar we are consuming by eating manufactured foods. For some, cutting down their sugar intake is not.
Okay, now I'll give you 60 seconds to review, to rethink what you have just listened, go through your notes, and then pick the right answer choices. Start now. Twenty seconds. Forty seconds. And 60 seconds now. So the correct answer choices are 1 and 2. First one, naturally occurring sugar in fruits and milk is not bad for health. And second, people should be careful about the amount of sugar they consume from manufactured foods. The transcript of the audio that you just heard is on the screen now. And you can see that the main points that it makes. Sugar occurs naturally in foods such as fruit and milk, and we don't need to cut down on these type of sugars, but we do need to look at the amount of pure sugar within our diets, the amount of sugar we are consuming by manufactured foods, etc. So, when the speaker makes that kind of a statement, uses words like but, therefore, etc., then you mean that uh, it means that he's trying to make a point, and that point is important. So you should note it down. Now, the question was, what can be said about sugar based on the passage? First one, naturally occurring sugar in fruits and milk is not bad for health. Yes, that's correct. It was said clearly in the passage. Second, people should be careful about the amount of sugar they consume from manufactured food. So that's also correct, as it says that we do need to look at the amount of pure sugar within our diets. That is the amount of sugar we are consuming by manufactured foods. So by saying that we need to look at, it means we need to be careful about. Third, World Health Organization recommends no food should contain more than 6 teaspoons of sugar. Does it say that? No. What it does say, what the World Health Organization does recommend is that a person should not take more than 6 teaspoons of sugar. Not that no food should not contain more than 6 teaspoons of sugar. So third is not correct. Fourth, people in UK consume the most sugar in the world averaging 15 teaspoons a day. So it doesn't say that it's most in the world. It does say that they consume 15 teaspoons sugar on an average, but doesn't say that it's the most in the world. So don't be confused, okay? So don't just look part of the choice and think that, yeah, this is correct. You have to make sure that everything that's there in that answer choice in that option is correct. So fourth is not an option. Fifth, food packaging doesn't correctly represent the amount of sugar in foods. Now, it doesn't say that as well. It talks about packaging and it says that sugar can be found in almost all products. It doesn't say that it doesn't correctly represent the amount of sugar. So fifth is also not a correct choice. All right. Um, did you understand how we arrived at these answer choices? I hope you did. Okay, it's always worthwhile to go back and revisit the questions. Okay, play it again and try to attempt it again. Pause the video, think about it. Okay, feel free to do that. The idea is to get as familiar as possible. Let's go to question number two now.
Has become more visible internationally, because what Tom and I were very struck by is the huge amount of films coming from very different national cinemas, all marketing themselves as biographical films, and many of them, I mean, very often being immensely popular. If we think about La Môme, that was called La Vie en Rose here, a French film about a French singer, Edith Piaf, making it to up all the way to the Oscars, all the way kind of to the big time in Hollywood and being distributed all over the world. I mean, what were the conditions that were creating this appetite for biographical narratives, and how are these films now becoming much more visible, not only from Hollywood, but from all over the world? So we wanted to study this phenomenon and say something about the biopic in contemporary film culture, and that's what the book is about.
Okay, so in the 7 seconds that you had in the beginning, you would have read the question. Focus areas of the study mentioned in the passage. So when you were listening, you should have looked at about what the study was focusing on, right? And then there were a number of choices. So which of these did you hear in the passage? Yeah, that's the approach to how to go about solving this type of questions. Now take 30 seconds, okay? Just for a variation, I'll give you 30 seconds. If you need more, you can pause the video and you can always take more time. But for the timing purpose, I'll give you 30 seconds to pick your correct answer choices. Start now. Okay, 30 seconds are over, and the correct answer choices were 3 and 4. The focus areas of the study were the reasons why there is an increasing demand for biographical films and the reasons behind the increasing visibility of biopic films. The transcript is on your screen. The key points were that there were different national cinemas, all marketing themselves as biographical films, and many of them were often being immensely popular. And then how these films are now becoming much more visible, not only from Hollywood but from all over the world. Okay, so what's shown in bold, those are some of the key points. Um, when you're taking notes, you can always take more than that, but if you had noted down what's in bold, or if you remember that, then that means you understood it correctly very well. Now let's look at the answer choices. So first, the focus areas of the study. First, the number of biographical areas being made world over. So it doesn't really make any sense actually, the choice, the number of biographical areas, and it doesn't really say all of that, yeah? So it's not a correct answer choice. Second, the reasons behind the appeal of Lamont. Um, does it say that? It says that if you think about Lamont here, a French film, oh, etc., etc., it is saying that because it's an example of a biographical film from another language outside Hollywood. So it's just an example, and therefore it's not a focus area of the study. Third, the reasons why there is an increasing demand for biographical films. Now, that is correct because it says that they're becoming very popular, so that means there is an increasing demand for them. So, third is correct. Fourth, the reasons behind the increasing visibility of biopic films. That's very clear too, as you can see, how these films are now becoming much more visible. So, that's what the study wanted to find out. So, fourth is also correct. Fifth, the reasons why biographical films are winning many Oscars now. Does it say that? No, that's again, it's an example that there was a biographical film which went all the way to the Oscars, but it does not say, the study doesn't try to find out the reasons why they're winning many Oscars. So, fifth is not a correct answer option. Okay, I hope you got 3 and 4 correct. Alright, make sure you understand everything, how we arrived at this. And then let's go to question number 3.
Well, manic depression actually is a kind of old term for bipolar disorder. So they're essentially the same thing. The definition of the illness has slightly changed over time, but essentially it's the same thing. Interestingly, there are some people who suffer from what's now called bipolar disorder who actually prefer the term manic depression because they feel that it describes their disorder better, because it emphasises the fact that they suffer from depression for some of the time and for mania for other parts of the time.
And presumably bipolar means because if there was a spectrum, they're on polar opposite?
That's right. The reason for the term bipolar is to refer to the two poles of the illness. So those are mania on the one hand, which is when your mood is very elated and you're often very creative and excited, and often people don't need to sleep very much when they're in that state. They're often spend a lot of money. Sometimes they can be aggressive when they're in that state. And then at the other end of the scale is depression, and we all sort of think we know what it feels like to be depressed, but people with bipolar disorder or manic depression have a much more severe form of depression than most of us would be.
Okay, now I'll give you 60 seconds to mark down your answer choices, the ones that you think are correct. Remember, there'll be a negative marking if you get any answer choice wrong in multiple choice, multiple correct. 60 seconds, start now. Twenty seconds. $40. And there you have it, 60 seconds. The correct answer choices were the first three. So you had to listen to the audio and find out the true statements out of the ones given below. And the true statements were: first, bipolar disorder is a new name for manic depression. Second, the term bipolar refers to the two extremes of the illness. And third, people can end up being very aggressive during a state of mania. What you're now looking at, the transcript of the audio that you just heard. And the key points of this were that, well, manic depression actually is a kind of old term for bipolar disorder, so they're essentially the same thing. Okay? The reason for the term bipolar is to refer to the two poles of the illness. So those are mania on the one hand, which is when your mood is very elated and you are excited, and sometimes people in that mood they can be aggressive when they are in that state. And then at the other scale is depression. So these are some of the key points that you should have picked. So when you look at the first answer choice, bipolar disorder is a new name for manic depression. Yes, it's correct, as it says in the very beginning. Second, the term bipolar refers to the two extremes of the illness. That's also correct, as it says bipolar is to refer to the two poles of the illness. So poles, two poles means two extremes, as in North Pole on one hand and South Pole on the other hand. Third, people can end up being very aggressive during a state of mania. So that's also correct, as it says there sometimes they can be aggressive when they are in that state. So those are your three correct choices. The fourth one, many depressive people will feel depressed some of the times. No, it doesn't say that. It says people who are bipolar, right? So one extreme is mania when they are happy, the other is depression when they are depressed. But it doesn't say that manic depressive people will feel depressed. So fourth is not correct. Fifth, depression is not so severe in people with bipolar disorder. No, it doesn't say that anywhere. Okay, but it rather says that people with bipolar disorder have a much more severe form of depression, so which is actually opposite of what the fifth answer choice is. So that's wrong as well. Alright, so the correct ones, first, second, and third. Let's start with question number 4 now.
Welcome to the Business Model Innovation course. My name is Chanda Velu. I'm one of the members of the faculty at the Judge Business School at the University of Cambridge. My research interest is particularly in the area of innovation with a general emphasis on business model innovation. As many of you know, business model innovation has become very critical on the agenda of many senior management across corporations. Senior management continuously feel these days that business model innovation is the basis upon which competitive advantage can be enhanced. This is similarly reflected in the academic arena, where professors and researchers across the world are focusing on business model innovation and trying to understand what is the basis upon which innovation, particularly business model innovation, can be promoted. What I'd like to do here today with you is to share some of that research findings in order to garner and think about what are the issues that firms need to think about in order to promote business model innovation, as well as some of the barriers that firms need to overcome in order to encourage business model innovation.
Alright, I'll give you 60 seconds for this. Start now. So 30 seconds. And 60 seconds. The correct answer choices are second and 4. So the question was, why is business model innovation receiving so much attention these days? So you had to listen to the audio to try to find out the reasons out of the given choices why the business model innovation was receiving so much attention these days. And the correct answers were 2 and 4. 2. It is the basis on which senior management wants to build up competitive advantage. And 4. Academics are spending a lot of effort to understand the basis upon which business model innovation can be promoted. The key points, the crux was right in the middle of the passage, that senior management continuously feel these days that business model innovation is the basis upon which competitive advantage can be enhanced. So because they feel it late, it can be, reason why it's getting so much attention. So, and this is similarly reflected in the academic arena. Professors and researchers across the world are focusing on the business model innovation and trying to understand what is the basis upon which innovation, particularly business model innovation, can be promoted. Now, with that in mind, when you look at the answer choices, the first one, business model innovation receiving so much attention these days because first one, it is a main area of research at the Judge Business School of the University of Cambridge. No, it doesn't say that specifically, right? So it does say that the speaker is from the Judge Business School, and it says that it is receiving attention from academics, professors, researchers across the world. But it doesn't say that it is one of the main areas of research specifically at Judge Business School. So first choice is wrong. See, again, they'll try to confuse you, by taking different facts from different parts of the passage and trying to combine them in a way that's not correct. So if you were just looking at individual parts, you can be confused. Yeah. So try not to. Try to understand, take the whole sentence, the whole option as a whole, and make a sense of it. So the first one's not correct then. Second, it is the basis on which senior management wants to build up competitive advantage. Yes, that's correct and very, very clearly said in the passage. Third, it helps companies compete more effectively in an increasingly global market. Does it say that? No, it doesn't say that. Okay. It says that it's critical. It's um, to it's critical, and it's receiving a lot of attention, but it doesn't talk about that how it's important for competition. So third is not correct option. Fourth, professors and researchers are spending a lot of effort to understand what's the basis upon which business model innovation can be promoted. Very correct. This is exactly said in the passage. Fifth, it can help the firms overcome barriers to innovation, which is critical for success these days. Does it say that? I don't think so. It says that, right? So, what rather it says that firms have to overcome barriers in order to encourage business model innovation, right? Business model innovation won't help the firms, to overcome barriers to innovation. So they've just turned it the other way around to confuse you. So don't let them do that. Okay. Um, as I said earlier, try to understand the sentence as a whole, and then see, is that? Then ask yourself, is this what is said in the passage? Is this correct 100%? Only when you're sure of it, then pick that answer choice. And on that basis, second and four were your correct answer options. So with that, we come to the end of this lecture. Don't forget to sign up for a free course on surveyenglish.com. All the best.